We're going live. I'm on the sofa today because it was just that kind of day. I've got my back is kind of, I'm not going to use the H word, it's just sore.
Yes.
So I did some, what they call it? Something. I can't remember the word, but I did yoga. That was really nice and soothing for it. And then I was like, sofa, pillows, teddy,
Yeah.
teddy bear,
Teddy bear.
teddy bear.
That looks like a dog.
So it looks like it is a doggy bear. It's a doggy
Okay.
bear. Where's the
I
dog?
was like,
There you
that
go. We
looks like
can
a
look at
dog.
that. Yes, he is. Oh, that makes why. So my friend was here with her dog Lua the other
Mhm.
day, and Lua was like, "Whoa!" And now I get it. It's a dog. That's like about that's bigger than her.
That's funny.
I just
Can't have
realized.
it. Ugh.
Yes. So, great morning, world. Great afternoon. That is my brother Jonathan's morning face. Isn't it cute? He just woke up. It's like 6 a.m. in San Antonio, Texas. And I was just saying to him that I love morning faces because I think they're so cute. They're like the most um I think they're the most peaceful we can be. That's what they remind me of. They remind me of like babies when babies wake up and they're just like, oh, and the world hasn't taken over yet. So that's why I love morning faces.
Well, that makes me happy because a little piece of me agreed to do this at 6 a.m. and I was all excited because I'm
Yes,
always up at 5,
bless
5:30.
you.
And
Yeah.
my life has taken on rehabbing a house this week and last week.
Okay.
And I love my life. I am so normally energetic and spry at 5 a.m. And I am so tired
Did you make some
because
coffee?
it's too early for coffee.
Oh, is it? Did you get some water, like some lemon water or something at least? Ah, fantastic. That's
we're
good. That's
on
good.
we're
That's
on
good.
just the we're taking it straight. Taking it straight,
Okay,
man.
take it straight. Do you know there are people out there that don't actually like water?
It's not me.
I was having this conversation and I was like, but when I'm thirsty, I want water. Like, I don't want Coke. I don't want something fizzy. I don't want like sparkling water. I just want water. Like, well, we don't drink water from the tap here because it's disgusting. Like, it's not like tap water that's dangerous. We are blessed enough that the water won't kill you from the tap. It just tastes nasty. So
Mm.
so we should be grateful for that because in some places of the world you can't even get water from the tap. And if you do get it, you wouldn't drink it. So it won't kill you, it just tastes nasty. So I have like a water filter thing. So but I love water.
Mm.
It's like the best. And other people that I'm close to are like, yeah, no, there's water in my tea, there's water in my coffee.
Mm. Mm.
There's water in my Coke.
I'm trying
Yes.
to think of what I had that wasn't water yesterday. I had some orange juice and
I
probably
would say
about
there's
five or
water in your
six
orange.
bottles of water.
Wow.
Um,
Well, I've got my cup of tea.
uh,
It's noon here. It's 12 p.m. in London town. And for those of you who don't know, because I did just ignored the introduction bit. Well, I started, but then I drifted off into something else. Never mind. But anywho's, welcome to Here We Grow Again. I'm gonna make a jingle. There has to be a jingle to Here We Grow Again. So on this podcast, I'm Yvette Franklin. This is my amazing brother stretching out with his morning face, Jonathan Patrick Nines. And we're just people who are, if we had one addiction, it would be personal development. It would be talking about it, experimenting with it, learning new tools about it, and putting it in our lives and seeing what happens, what those growth games are. And I think over the last 2 years, we spent a lot of time like this, haven't we? On like WhatsApp or Zoom or some video face thing, which really
Mm.
annoys me at this point. I'm so over Zoom. I'm really kind of on Zoom avoidance right now. I'm like, no, don't.
Mm,
And the other point of it is that I'm tired of looking at myself. Like I'd like to just look at you. You know,
mm.
kind of
Real
like,
life again.
yeah, I'm so over looking at myself. But anywho, so the idea was we'd get together. We always have these great conversations or silly conversations or very deep conversations, because one of the things that I adore about Jonathan, he can go very deep very fast, and I actually really love that. Something that I really admire about him, and I think is one of his superpowers. And so we were like, yeah, let's do this, let's create some content, let's do a podcast, and let's talk about these growth games, what we learn. Neither of us are sitting here going that we're experts and we're going to tell you what to do, but we're just sharing our
Mm,
experiences, we're sharing our personal developments, tools, books, um, things that we've learned that make sense, and hoping that they add value to someone else. And if not, it's all good, because I just get to talk to my friend every Tuesday and Sunday, which is awesome.
mm, mm, mm. There's and in the morning I have this nice little line right here that's super powerful. Um,
Oh,
right there. See it?
yeah. See, that's the
My
superpower of the superpower.
it's my morning line. That Yvette loves so much. And
Yes,
one of
I
the
love
greatest,
food.
yeah, you do, morning face.
Mhm. Morning face is awesome.
Well, we need to plan so that you see it much, much more. One
Yay!
of the things that we constantly do is renegotiate. You know, if you've read something like, who is it? Is it Paulo Coelho? Do I
Paulo
say his
Coelho.
Coelho? If I say his
Coelho, yeah.
name right?
You were
But
close. You
man,
were close.
the Four Agreements is a great book. Everyone should read it. Um,
Wait a second. Sorry, my bad. Um, Paulo Coelho is someone else, also a great author, but the Four Agreements is Don Miguel Ruiz.
that's it. That's right. What what was I reading by Paulo Coelho this week?
His
What did
super,
he write?
The Alchemist,
The
Breda.
Alchemist.
Were
I
you
got
reading
it
The Alchemist?
confused. I
Uh,
was in The Alchemist, and
oh,
but
nice. I love that book.
yeah, me too. Which is I feel like it's so my story right now. You know,
Oh, have you ever? Because it's the only book I've read in two languages. Have you read it in Spanish?
The Alchemist.
Yes.
I haven't. I have not.
It's a great
I haven't.
experiment. Read it in Spanish.
I need to try that. I would love
Yeah,
something
it's
that would
really
challenge
cool.
my Spanish.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
cool. And because of the way he writes,
hmm
um, like he doesn't use overcomplicated vocabulary, and in Spanish
mm,
it's the same. It's not overcomplicated. It's just beautifully written.
mm.
Um, I recommend it.
I accept. I feel like that would super challenge my brain in the way that I need it to now. If anything, COVID's taught me that I get to keep my brain active, or else things happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Things can
Yeah.
happen, and there's a lot of things that can happen in there. Um,
Yes.
I
Yes,
said Paulo
definitely.
Coelho. I meant Don Miguel. His last name on
Luis.
the Luis on
Luis.
the. I've quoted the Four Agreements for so long, and then I was talking, or I wasn't even talking. I was listening to a podcast on.
Mhm.
It was a lovely one. You would love it. Have you seen Impact Theory? You know
I've
that
heard of it,
gentleman.
but I don't have. Yes,
Oh,
yes, 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 yes. Oh, I really like him. He does these amazing interviews with people. Yes.
yeah, and I forget,
Yeah.
man. I'm
So
6 a.m. and I am honest about having woken up 14 minutes ago. Um, to,
Yay!
to the plan, this normally would go at 9 a.m. my time. Today, I get to work, so Yvette worked with me, and we got this going early. Um, Alarm set, and Yvette
Yay!
called me and said, "It's time now," even though you had your alarm on, and I'm happy. Um, the
It's all good.
it's
It's
more
all good.
important to it's more important to renegotiate and follow through on something, and we said we'd do this on Tuesdays and Sundays, so here we are. If it's a little earlier
Yes.
and I get to wake up a little earlier, so much better to be a man of my word and get that, renegotiated success story in the day, instead of, oh, we'll do it later, oh, we skipped it and we didn't do it. It's just the most
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
empowering thing.
Yeah. So how are you going to relate that to the four agreements?
So the four agreements, the big one that I carry is, be a man of your word, be a person of your word. Your word is everything.
Nice.
um,
Yeah.
you know I say this every time, and it's always an experiment. Go through the four agreements, and so it's, you know be a person of honor and your word. Do what you say. Don't make
Mm-hmm.
assumptions. um, don't make assumptions, don't take things personal. And the one that I have an issue with today, because it's the fourth one coming to my brain. So, man of your word, don't take things personal, don't make assumptions, always do your best.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I like to play this little game of whichever one comes last in trying to think of them is the one that I
Mm-hmm.
need to work on the most. So doing my
Ah,
best.
interesting.
Hmm.
Ah,
Um,
interesting.
I love it. I usually lead into it from, don't take things personal, or um, be a man of my word. These two things
Mm-hmm.
I feel are so much easier for me to remember all the time. Even if I take it personal, I
Okay.
remember really fast. I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but the do my best, and um, don't take things personal. Do your best. Man of your word.
Yeah.
Don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
Um,
That's my favorite. That's my
to do.
favorite because for me, that's the one that I have to remind myself of all the time because I love meaning. I'm just throwing meaning all over the place. And I
Mm,
decide that stuff means things and then I go off. And it's a very natural thing for the female brain to do
mm,
because we instinctively make connections.
yeah.
Um, so I instinct so for it's like for me to under for the female mind to understand the world, um, part of our mechanisms, kind of instinctively, is to make a connection to be things. So I have to make a meaning because otherwise I can't make a connection. If I don't make a connection, then it doesn't make sense.
I think the same way.
Ah, excellent.
I think that's one of the reasons why my friend Yvette likes me so much is I am different.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. I would say that I remember doing this work with our mutual mentor, Sarah Thompson, and it was called shit. It just in my brain and then it just went out. The one about the stuff that's important to you. Where's my phone? I have it in my phone. It's like it's about come on, brain. Come on, come on, come on. Like okay, so that part of it was who's around you, like who's your tribe.
Hmm.
And how you defined your tribe was based on like what do they have in common, like what's the thing that your tribe has in common. And if you look at, and when I say tribe, I don't mean like a lot of people, I mean like your inner circle, I suppose is a better word.
Hmm.
So who are those people, who are your inner circle? And I remember that something that came up for me, that my inner circle were all kind of culturally different from where their culture was from, like literally all of them. Like if I
Mm,
look at these, and they're always that as well, which was the other
wow.
interesting thing. Um, they're always that. They're all the closest people I'm to, wherever they come from, they are not very, they're not very American if they're American. They're not very Belgian if they're Belgian. They maybe have stuff there because of that's where they grew up and the environment is powerful, but like
Hmm.
so my close net people, that's always been something that connects me to people is that they're all a bit weird, a bit strange.
Hmm. So you
Bit
pick
weird,
up the
bit
black
strange, bit
sheep,
out there.
you
Yeah, I do.
pick up the
I do.
oddballs,
I
or
pick up the oddballs because I consider myself an oddball and have done for,
mm,
I identify as an oddball. So I think it
mm,
just made sense for me to, yeah, pick up other oddballs.
that would be a very interesting. Uh, well, I'll say it this way: I would watch that reality television show.
Of the oddballs.
Like, here's my friend from Sweden, and here's the other Swedish people. I like my friend
Ah,
best.
okay.
I'm gonna keep my Swedish friend, and here's my Danish friend. They're also not like the Danish people, but they're cool.
That'd be a good show. That would
I
be a
could
good
totally
show.
see that, and I'm one of the
There are
people that you're talking
Stranger
about.
Things. Yeah, there are Stranger TV shows out there.
Well,
I'm still trying to find what that thing is.
everyone's raised different, and
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
kind of mentioned or touched on it. It's the environment that you're in, or the way that you're brought up, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
both of them play a big role. I think it's the people that you have around you that's the most influential,
Yeah.
because I can come from a place where I don't have a lot of resources. My family doesn't have a lot of money. But if I hang around influential business owners, I'm going to become an influential business owner because that's what I learned, even though my family didn't buy me shoes,
Right.
But the guy
Yeah,
taught me
yeah,
how
yeah.
to make money and I got shoes.
Yeah.
Um, if I never hung around it's almost the rich dad, poor dad um, book. If you
Scenario.
haven't
Yeah.
read that by Robert Kiyosaki, pick that up. If you're starting your journey, that's a great one to
Definitely.
just read twice. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but the simple story of a kid growing up with a father that wanted them to go to school, get good grades, get a good job just like they did, and a second influential father figure, their best friend's father, who owned apartment complexes and rentals and taught his kids to do that. Um,
Mm.
and take your money and create ways where money multiplies through rent or business ownership. And the other father was a superintendent of schools. So very
Right.
different people, both having success in different ways. One
Hmm.
had a successful, steady job that they could work forever, and one had ability to do what they want whenever they wanted. And Robert Kiyosaki wanted to follow the guy that had more time freedom, which
Right.
wasn't his father. Um, super, super powerful, super important, but that's a great place to start for
Definitely. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And also, like, it's one of those that you can read again, like
Hmm.
a couple years later in the journey, because I think, like all things, I think it happens with movies. Like, if you watch a
Hmm.
movie like a couple years later and you're like, did that happen? When that didn't happen in that movie. That they just made that up, and it seems like a completely different movie. And I've had that same experience with books. Kind of, I'll read a book and be like, what just happened?
Good question. What books do you read over and over? Like your ones that you have read multiple times in
Ones that
time.
I've read multiple times, definitely. Well, the Four Agreements.
Hmm.
I
Do
listen
you?
to and read that several times. Like I've had moments in my life where I would listen to that audio daily, like that audio book.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to bed listening to it. I listen to it while I'm doing stuff, and it's like a period where for about a week
Mm-hmm.
I listen to it every day. Um, and I've read the actually hard copy of the book countless times because I just love
Mm.
reading it.
It's
One I
really
have
really fun.
difficulty reading, and keep reading it again, and I think I still have difficulty with it. Is actually Think and Grow Rich.
I was mind
And
making you say that.
you were? Is that why you were like, oh no, say it, say it? I find that book so hard to read, and the
Oh
first
no, I
couple of
lost
times
your
I read
sound.
it, I didn't even finish it. Oh, you did?
It might be my side. I lost your sound somehow.
Okay. Am I back? Am I back?
What
Can you hear me? Can you
happened?
hear me? I don't know.
Hold on.
Nothing happened here.
I
I'll
can't
wait.
hear you. I had an alarm go and then it dropped my sound. 1 second. I'm gonna.
Okay. We'll
I don't
fix
want to
it.
leave, but I want to hear you.
Uh-huh.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
something happened there. You just muted yourself.
Where are you? Sure.
Oh, what?
Hear me now?
Uh, yeah, I
Where'd
can
I
hear you,
go?
but I can't see you. You disappeared.
Where'd I
Where'd you
go?
go? Where did you go?
No.
Oh, he's gone. Okay. I think he's gonna come back though. It's all good. I'm still trying to find that. Oh man. It's okay. It's gonna come to me. It will come to. Oh, I found it. Holy. Okay, that's really good. Jonathan, come back. I found what I was talking about. Ha! Add to stream. Hold on. I think I pressed too many buttons too fast. Yeah, I did. Hold on. Ah, here we go. There he is. No, he's not. There he
Ta-da!
is. Yes.
So I had an alarm go
Yay!
off
Can you
and it
hear
took
me now?
the sound away. Sorry.
And it took the sound away,
No.
but you're back. Okay,
Yes.
so
You
what
were
were you saying again?
just saying. You were just saying the book that you have had around a long time and don't know if you read all of it is Think and Grow Rich.
Yes, so I have read all of it, maybe once at least. I'm not gonna lie and say more than once because I don't think I have. I think I've managed to get all the way to the end at least once.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've read, I've started it, and then the other thing I did, which helped, was just to go to a chapter. I think this is something that Andy Manning talks about. Just go to a
Mm-hmm.
chapter and read that chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I find that works better for me in terms of that book, but I found it really, really hard to read. There is a version of it, like, and apparently it's not the only version. So there's a Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice. Can't remember the author, but apparently, so the story is um Napoleon Hill, obviously a thinker like way beyond his year, beyond it before his time, knew that they were these kind of inconsistencies, if you like, or injustices based on ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wrote manuscripts, kind of from the black perspective and from the
Oh.
Hispanic perspective too. And so their books exist, like Think and Grow Rich and Hispanic Choice, Think and Grow Rich and Black Choice. That was really interesting for me to read, just because I like the way this guy writes.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it on my bookshelf somewhere. I like the way he actually, it might be in my room. I like the way he writes, and because he's an American author, and it does tell stories, not kind of like, oh, the victimization of these injustices, but how people have used that mindset and used those principles without even knowing what those principles were called,
Right.
um, how they succeeded, how they succeeded and broke through and thrived despite
Hmm.
those injustices. So it was really very interesting, really, really good.
That sounds really interesting. I haven't heard of those, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the real world is. So I'm really glad that he.
Ah, Carol, I love you. So, Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. Thank you, Carol.
Nice.
Welcome, Carol. And thank you. Because I was like, oh, I can't remember his name. Oh.
Say it one more time.
She's put it in the comments. I'll put it there. So it's Think and
Dennis
Grow Rich, a Black
Kimbrough.
Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. And I love the way he writes it. And I know that manuscripts exist of Think and Grow Rich, a Hispanic choice also.
Hmm.
So
I'll
yeah,
look it
it's
up.
an yeah. Exactly the same content, just
Hmm.
kind of added ethnic aspects to it, which are really interesting.
Well, I wonder how uh, how it hits, how I receive it. I'm excited because it's a new
Oh, cool.
perspective. Like
Yeah,
I'm, I'm this Caucasian guy. I know Yvette knows me, but for all the tens of people watching, um, the
yeah.
here's a Caucasian Texan white boy that I walk
Yeah.
into a place and people go, "Oh, white boy, cool," and I say that not in any derogatory term. I say that as like I call myself
That's how the
white
world
boy.
sees you. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not in any way down on myself or down on terms or being derogatory of anything.
It is what it
But
is, right?
here I am, Caucasian white guy, and
Mhm.
yet I grew up with a stepfather who was born in the United States, but born to parents not from the United States, from Mexico, and migrant workers. The way that the family got to California was they came for work and they stayed. And
Mhm.
did they come legally, illegally? That's not the concept and conversation. The conversation is I grew up with jalapenos on the breakfast table. I grew up um,
Right.
knowing that we don't pay anybody to do our yard work. I grew up with a step side black Silverado uh, Chevy truck. Every good Mexican family had one.
Has
And
one. Yeah.
I grew up with more than one language being spoken in the house, and if it were social time, the language was Spanish, and
Mhm.
I didn't engage and learn it as a child, but I engaged and learned it once I got out of the house, and I grew up a little Hispanic version white boy that was, and add to that stepfather was somewhat absentee as far as emotionally available and present. All of the people who reared and taught me to do anything were women. So I have
Mhm.
a connection. I can go deep on a topic, and I have the same purpose of applying meaning, like Yvette, and
Mhm.
Yvette saying,
Yeah.
the feminine um,
Yeah.
in many women does that. You look for meaning, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's what we do. But
Yeah.
it's
For
what we
sure.
do. I was raised by mom. When mom wasn't there, it was grandma. When grandma wasn't there, it was great grandma. And
Mhm.
so here is a heterosexual male in a Caucasian body, but I got a lot of feminine and a lot of connective, meaning fiber, which is normally the feminine side of energy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we're in this beautiful world where we get to love people for who they are, um,
Yes.
knowing that is
Absolutely.
great. But
About bloody
everybody's a
time.
little different. You know?
About
It is.
bloody time. I have. I think the conversations that are happening in the world right now are really interesting because, on the one hand, there's this whole thing of how people identify themselves, right? And we were talking
Mhm.
about identity, I think, on Sunday. There's how
Yeah.
all this thing that I'd identify myself as, and whether that be gender or sexual or da da da. And then some people get really irritated by um this fact that people are going around identifying themselves, and it's like, yeah, but why would it bother you how somebody else identifies themselves? Because they're just telling you how they see themselves. So instead of you deciding who they are, which you'll probably fucking do anyway, because that's just how it is. But
Yeah.
they have the voice to now tell you how they see themselves. And it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you have to do anything with it. You just,
Hmm.
I personally don't feel like I have to do anything with it. If someone tells me their pronouns, I'm like, okay, I don't feel like I have to do anything with it. I'm like, I hear what you're saying,
Right.
but yeah, I don't understand why people get so uppity about it and why it's just such a big thing. I'm like, well, we've lived in so much of the world. Ah, maybe this is why.
Tell me.
We've lived
I
so
need
much
help. Tell me.
in the past. It's just an idea. It's not necessarily the truth. It's my hallucination is, right?
Hmm.
We've lived so much of life in history and past, identifying each other,
Hmm.
so like, this is a indigenous person, this is a European person, this is a white person, this is a black person, this is an Asian person.
Hmm.
And it's never the person telling you that. It's
Right.
always some outside entity saying, these group of people are this, right?
Hmm.
And that's how you're identified. And now it's flipped. Whereas, and thanks to social media and thanks to the connectivity we have, because of, technology and the internet and all that lovely stuff, now individuals get to tell you, actually, I identify as blah.
Hmm.
Like, and I think the resistance is that we've always been told by society who we are and how we identify, and now we get to do it for ourselves, and so people
Hmm.
find it overwhelming, maybe.
Hmm. I find it overwhelming.
That's
I.
because you need to have the okay gene, which, right, I tell you, I used to get in trouble for the okay, because my son's dad, when I said okay, it meant to him, stop talking, shut up, whatever, I don't really care. But okay to me means I hear you.
Mm.
So I had to find different words than just to say okay, so that
Hmm.
he would understand that I wasn't being dismissive, like I hear you.
Hmm.
Um, but you can listen to someone tell you how they identify themselves, and just leave it right there. Kind of like, all right,
Let them be
cool.
who they say they are.
Let them be who they say they are. Totally. Like, why did it doesn't affect me? It doesn't change my life. If it doesn't affect my world, it doesn't change who I am just because you
Hmm.
told me who you are. And so I don't understand what the upset is about.
Hmm. There's so much, and there's been so much effort and work on labels, and
Oh my gosh.
you know,
Yes.
and to
Yes.
then the last 2 years especially, we've gone like hyper speed on it, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it in me to be the vaccine versus the non-vaccine world, at the moment, but
Yeah.
that's a that's
Yeah,
it's a
that's
big
part of
one
it
where
though.
we
Yeah.
I feel like it's a political piece of the game to make sure that there's two big groups and that they're not united. One
Mhm.
wants these injections, one doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not bringing that up to dive into right now. I love
Yeah.
that topic, and I think it's a good
Mhm.
one where um, I bring it up because of what you're saying. I tell you
Yeah.
what I am. I am or
Yeah.
I am not vaccine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
right
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
that's
but
a
but
great
but why
example.
is it am or why is it am or not am? Because for me, it's not a case of I am or am not vaccine. It's a case of I
Hmm.
choose not to have a vaccine. It's not
Hmm.
who I am. Kind of it's
Well,
not. It's just it's something I choose to do or
hmm
not to do. But it doesn't. It's not who I am as a human being, as a person.
it doesn't define me, and I don't define other people by that. But I see a lot of
Absolutely not.
people
Yeah. Oh yeah.
reading and I see a lot of news, and I see a lot of
Mm-hmm,
I'll be honest, just of where I'm at. I see a
mm-hmm,
lot
hmm.
of presidential, um, what do they call them? Press conferences.
Yeah, uh-huh, uh-huh.
I see a lot of press conference words coming out of my president currently, which
Mm-hmm,
is um, weird. I'm trying to use words as close to the words that he's used because I really feel like there's a lot of propaganda pushing agenda thing going on, and
mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
engaged in that conversation currently.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
but words that I've heard recently, and I feel uh, people can feel however they feel about it. I feel scared.
Absolutely.
I feel scared that this language is being used. We are
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We are dealing with a
Oh wow, that's the language he's using.
the problem
That's
is an
powerful.
unvaccinated problem. The problem is,
Wow.
vaccinated people have uh, what is like, and I'm really not. I'm not trying to put emotion on it. I'm just trying to capture the words because it's on
Mm-hmm,
both
mm-hmm.
sides. But what
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, for
see,
sure.
the scary
Mm-hmm.
piece that I see is I'm not attached to the words on either side, but I clearly see somebody leading my country putting people on two sides of a barbed wire fence and
Mm-hmm,
giving
mm-hmm.
them weapons to shoot at each other,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
bringing them closer and closer together, but then saying, "Hey, we shouldn't fight." God,
Yeah.
it's
The thing is, though, it's not new. It's just different.
this
It's
one's
just
super
different.
calculated.
And because but that's what politics and media have always done. That's always been their strategy. The thing
Hmm.
is that I think because it's happening on a global level, it seems scary.
Hmm.
For me though, it's like, yeah, but this is what they've always done. Like it's not new. This
I'm with
this
you
is
on
what
that.
they've always done.
Sure.
I For me, I see it as a time of it's like a desperate time for them, right?
I agree.
Be, People are shifting. Um, I think COVID has exposed governments
Hmm.
um, that they're just ineffective in many ways.
Hmm.
It's also exposed their playground behavior,
Right.
where we are living the issues in many different countries. We're living these issues, but our politicians aren't trying to solve them. They're arguing with each other about whose fault is what. And we're looking at them going, what are you fucking 12-year-olds in the playground? Like, sort this shit out. It's literally your fucking job.
Right.
It's like, sort it out. So I think that for me, and this is my perspective, is because of what I listen to, what I allow in my head, the people I talk to, the conversations I have,
Hmm.
um, and I just don't buy into the fear mongering because it's part of their process and they've just hyped it up. And I think also, like, my experience as a black person is always on the outside looking in. I'm not part of the game, right? Because the
Hmm.
game is not made for me to be in it. The game is meant for me to be on the outside looking in. So I don't feel emotionally connected to this game because it's never been designed for me to be part of it. And then what's happening now is that people who it was designed for them to be, are seeing it unravel and they don't know what to do. So what then systems that run this shit have to do is they have
Hmm.
to up their game. So they have to think of more ways to separate us, more ways of fear mongering, more ways of
Right.
anxiety, more ways of thingy. And you know, a couple things happen. Some people go, I've had enough of this shit, I'm switching it off. And some people, yeah, totally, I'm like, I've had enough of this shit, I'm switching it off. I'm going to do something else. And then
Yeah.
some people get caught up in it. And I say it at least on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
at least more than once a day. We don't need everybody to change the world. We just need who we need. You just need who you need to change the world, and everybody else will just come along when the changes happened. And I have, I know, I have, I'm a ridiculous optimist, and I feel like the instinct of humanity is to expand. We create amazing things i- from the most dire situations. And we're completely capable of change. If you don't believe we're capable of change, look at the last 2 fucking years. They might have not been change that you agree with, but they're definitely change.
Yeah.
And the world continues to turn. So it's kind of like, what do you choose to focus on? These people and their agendas, they're going to do it anyway. So don't get my personal view is I just don't get caught up in it. I won't get distracted by it, and I certainly as fuck won't treat people differently because they don't believe the same thing that I believe. I've got friends who are complete, like, dedicated to their conspiracy theory, and they have good arguments, really good fucking arguments. But at the end of the day, I know this person's heart,
Right.
and I know that these things that they're talking about is very much situational. This is the situation at the moment, and these are the beliefs and arguments that they've come up with based on this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to dismiss them. I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to suddenly make them wrong because we don't agree anymore. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to, what, babe, do you
Mm-hmm.
believe what you need to believe? It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me because I don't like that idea of being a victim. I'm not saying that it's not possible that we're being controlled because human beings are capable of the most horrendous shit. And if you've been on this planet for 40 odd years, you know that.
Yeah.
We do some horrendous shit in the name of all kinds of nonsense and all kinds of, like, when you look at things and you're like, how did we think that up? Like, why? What the fuck? But that's okay. What I
Mm-hmm.
can do is focus on my life, what I can do, and who I choose to have around me, and who I like. Choices, choices, choices. And I have to choose choices that work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the choice that there are people plotting against me, even though they may be, I'm not saying they're not, it's totally possible that they are, it doesn't serve me to focus on that thought. It just doesn't. I would be a
Right.
dribbling, emotional, depressed wreck of a person, and I don't want to live like that. So I just like, okay, fine,
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
Well, and at some level, we've probably lived that way in the last 2 years and decided, heck no, like that's
Yeah.
not like I'm surrounding myself with nobody, and I'm not getting on Zoom if that's the only way I can be social and get this greatness in and out of my
Yeah.
life. Well, then I better get back
Yeah.
to Zoom, even if
Yeah,
I even
exactly.
if I don't like
Even
it
though I
as
don't
much
really
as
like this,
us.
so over it.
But
Yeah.
you bring up a lot of good stuff right there, and I'm a big fan of everybody should have their convicted opinion, and you do. And if anything, the thing I said, when I'm scared, I'm not scared of the virus, and I'm not scared of the hospital, and I'm not scared of getting sick. As I mean, everyone should fear getting sick and being shot by a bullet. That's how we stay alive, right? Um,
Mm-mm.
but just to define, like, I'm scared of my friends killing each other,
Over
without telling the
there,
story and
different, there are
without getting,
differing opinions. Yeah.
like you said, without focusing on it and getting in it, because that's not good for me or anybody.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
see my I'm the kind of person that has friends of all political shades and colors. I'm the kind of person
yeah.
that has friends
Yeah.
in many countries, whether they live in
Mm-hmm,
mine or not. um,
mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of person and friend who goes and purposely puts myself around people that are not like me because I love change and growth and unity and diversity and together. I love
Hmm.
all of those things, and you don't find those things in just your one little church that lets
Yeah,
in one kind of people.
one kind of people for sure. Yeah,
And if one little
yeah,
church is having great success working in one community, awesome. But everything I know from a higher source is all inclusive, you
yeah,
know. And
yeah.
I've been down the the teachings from Buddha. I've really done a lot of Eastern, Confucius and Taoism and Taoism, and I can't
Hmm.
say that I've become a monk and I can tell you and teach you about these things from the highest level,
Hmm.
but I've searched more than just the one church I was brought to when I was 7. And
Right.
and
Okay.
I go down the Baptist version of the Word of God, and the New King James Bible, the international version. There's so many different. You can read the um, Church of Latter Day Saints version of the Bible, and everything's going to say Jehovah. It's not going to say God, and you know,
Hmm.
switch to the Quran, and the message is so similar. There's something so ancient inside all of these things. I
Hmm.
just truly I try to focus on that, and when I'm with people, I try to focus on that beautiful thing, which is we're all loving creatures from something bigger than ourselves, and
Yeah, I
we're
can
all
understand.
doing our best. And this is hard
Hmm.
for me to remind myself sometimes, but I'm always doing my best. If I could do better, I would.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I
yeah.
am not producing the result that I did 10 days ago, it isn't because I am incapable of it. It's at that
Hmm.
moment, that's what I have.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's kind of lost on my
Mm.
current understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And it's something that I long for. And it's the reason I jump on with you. It's the reason that I'll get on, Zoom, Twitch, StreamYard. I'll jump on with anybody. Um, and I have a finite amount of energy, but that's the place where I'm really functioning is I believe I have a finite amount of energy, so I can't just be on all the time. I'm working on
Hmm.
that because
Hmm.
yes, I can.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. 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 I
yes, I
think
can.
as long as it fuels and serves you, isn't it? Is my thing. I've learned to not do, my one of my many COVID lessons is I just don't do shit that doesn't feel good because I haven't got time for it. I'm
Hmm.
like, that's
Hmm.
annoying. Fuck off.
That's
I won't
annoying.
do that.
I can't be bothered.
Yeah, I can't be bothered. That's
Can't
just
be
not.
bothered.
That's not working for me. I'm out. I'm out. Not doing it. So I don't know. I think I wish my greatest wish for the world, and we have a mutual friend, Holly.
Hmm.
And Holly, we always have this conversation, Holly and I as well. Um, my wish for the world is that we get to a place where where we can disagree. We can disagree. We can believe complete opposite things.
Hmm.
We can have completely different worldviews, completely different like complete um what's the word when they're super far apart?
Uh,
I don't know.
Polar opposites.
Yes, that's it. We can be complete polar opposites in our opinion, in our beliefs, in whatever, in our cultures even, right?
Hmm.
But we get to the place where I can respect that that's how you choose, that's what you choose to believe. That's how you choose to operate, that's how you choose to see the world. I can
Hmm.
respect that. And you can respect that I choose to see that way. And you can listen, you can listen. You don't have to agree, but you can listen.
Hmm.
Uh, it's not an easy thing to do because some things are hard to listen to. Some things poke us. and trigger us, and they're fucking hard to listen to. And that's where that pressure is. So it's like, how do we get to, I guess, more conversations? I think in most cultures we're taught, don't talk about sex or politics, or you know, it's, what is it, sex, politics, religion, that trigger people. And it's like, well, actually, maybe we should have been talking about sex, politics, and religion so that we can learn to talk about them without getting pissed off, so that we can learn to talk about them, and I can believe what I believe and not make you wrong because you believe something else,
Mm-hmm.
or you just don't, point blank, don't believe what I believe. Then it's okay. And even better than that is, you can believe something completely different. You can believe the complete opposite from me, but I can
Mm-hmm.
be so enamored with you, who you are as a person and your character, that I can love you even though we have completely different opinions. Now that is my wish for our planet.
And do you experience that already? You personally, you by yourself.
Me by myself, occasionally.
Do you do you practice it, and do you occasionally experience it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right?
I
Me too.
definitely practice it, and I definitely occasionally experience it. Um, yeah, because I know that I'm not going to agree with everybody. I know that to some level, I have my circle, and my circle,
Mm-hmm.
we see the world in a similar way, like that's why they're my circle,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some things that they say that I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not buying that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my bestest friends in the world, Carol, is listening to the podcast, and she'll know that I would go off, if I didn't agree. But I think now that I've just skipped the emotional part of it and kind of gotten to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I can listen and
Mm-hmm.
not be emotionally or negatively emotional about someone
Mm-hmm.
being different or thinking differently, or yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a good place to be. But we shall see. We shall see. I feel like this is where we are now, where it's just, you just gotta wait and see, right? What will unfold?
Uh, if well, if my fear, and there's something powerful in like instinctual fear, like it's a
Yeah,
voice
it
that's
protects
speaking
you.
from the the instinctual feeling, that's like a 3 billion-year-old voice. Like
Yeah.
that's a
Mhm.
voice that's here to keep you alive. It's
Yeah,
the
absolutely. Yeah,
natural
it keeps you
call,
safe.
and
Hmm.
to avoid or go against. And I was listening to Impact Theory. I was going to say earlier, the guest was Jay Shetty, and
Oh, I like him.
oh my gosh, and try to find an inner, like, he's put out so much content. Jay Shetty wrote Think Like a Monk, one of the best books I've read in the
Yeah, I
COVID downtime.
love that book. Yes, I love that book.
It,
Absolutely.
I have it on audio. I have it in
Yeah, me
paperback.
too.
It's one of
Yeah,
those that you need to read. You
it's
need to
really
listen.
good. Over and over again. Yeah,
Put
for
it in the
sure.
background. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's
try to find
really
a real
good.
interview. Find a real interview with Jay
Mhm.
Shetty, and he's done so few, and yet he's put out all this content. But he's so smart to have done only like 5 interviews,
Mm.
and he did this one with the guy from Impact Theory. This morning, his name is. I listen to Impact Theory almost every day, and I can't remember his
Yeah,
name.
me too. I can't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
keep talking. I want to look it up.
just to honor him, because he puts. I think that's one of the people that's truly working on what you're saying, which is, hey, there's a lot of people, we can learn from a lot of things, and I don't agree with everybody that I have and every opinion that they have, but engaging with them and learning from them, it makes me better.
Yes.
Like, he's a great example
Yes.
of that. And
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
Jay, man, Jay Shetty, I listened to the majority of that yesterday, and those podcasts are usually about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours long, and worth every minute to be in Jay Shetty's space, because
Oh
his
wow.
his space is, I believe, the embodiment of what you said, which is everybody can have their opinions. I love them all, and nothing that they do has any reflection or power over my emotion.
Yes.
My emotion is mine. I'm a monk, and
Yeah.
that's the only thing I control. So that's the only thing I'll be controlling. So,
Yes. And leave
like,
everybody else the fuck alone. Let them control their shit.
you know, and clearly, what I like about his mission is, it's, without saying it this way, it's aggressive positivity. Um,
Yes.
it's
Like
without,
super intentional. Yeah. Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
better
yeah.
word, super
Yeah.
intentional
Super
positivity
intentional. His name's
without
Tom
judgment.
Billiou,
Billion, Tom, Tom,
Billiou,
Tom Billion.
Billiou. Mm.
Give me the last name, but I remember the first. Um, somebody that person is really, he, in that podcast yesterday, Tom was saying, investing money really didn't come natural to me, but making it did. So I could
Mm.
figure out a way to run $1 billion company much easier than I could figure out how to leverage and use money. Like,
Yeah.
because there's
Hmm.
there's two things: you can use money to make money, or you can go make more money.
Right.
The really powerfully time-free people that I think we emulate and want to be more like, they have not only great ways of making money, they have their money work once they have it.
Yeah, that is the
That's,
for
you
me,
know,
that's the stuff right there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
we have
and
a comment, Carol, that I wanted to read.
yeah.
Find it. There it is. She says, we all have choices on where our focus goes. Give that power away, and we will more often than not be confused. Oh, amen, sister. um, Opinionated, divisive, and in the end,
Mm.
not know why. Opinionated, divisive, and in the end, not know why. Yeah, totally. So like that choice, like you get to choose where your focus goes. That's brilliant, Carol. It's so
Yeah.
yeah, choose. Like if you're gonna choose anyway, like because you're gonna do it anyway. So just I like what you said about him being aggressively positive. Like
Yeah.
why not? Kind of I've always had this thing of people saying to me, "Why are you happy all the time?" Because I like my life that fucking way.
You, you,
Like
was it?
really, even when I'm pissed off, I can't even stand myself for a whole day. I give myself the pity parties are very limited. Kind of, I'm like, no, no, you're done. Fuck off.
Mhm.
Kind of.
Y'all are good at that. You two specifically. Like, okay, great. You want to bitch about it? Cool. 2 minutes.
Yes, go.
But
Time's
I've seen you
up.
both do it. You're like, okay, you clearly are not going to get off this. 2 more minutes, go.
Yeah. Yes, Carol is my definitely the queen of that. She is
Uh huh.
like she is grace personified.
Mm-hmm.
She's just so patient, so graceful. So, but when time's up, time's up.
Mm-hmm.
You're now. Let's move on. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Superpower, big power in that.
Yeah, I think so.
So I want to drop a seed, because we've been trying to drop
Yeah.
the seed for days. Um,
Okay.
we're talking about a lot of mental stuff. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking a lot about books and the world and how people can see it. Um, right now is a time where people really need. If I think I know anything and I gotta say what they need, I'm on thin ice already. I know it. Um, let me say we, as much more
Say what you
power.
gotta say, brother.
we need mental fortitude. We need mental toughness. We need to be able to withstand confusion, like Carol says.
Mm.
We're going to be
Yeah, yeah,
given
yeah, for
this,
sure.
and in the end, we're going to be confused and not even know why.
Yeah.
That's a super amazing spot.
Hmm.
One thing that I've been toying with it. I've played with it. I want to uh, show myself how proud I can be of myself by completing a program called 75 Hard. Um,
Ah, yes.
just, just to plant the seed, because
Hmm.
you're gonna need to come back to Magic Mindset Thursday. You're gonna need to come back Sunday. You're gonna need to come back, and this isn't something that can just be spoken and then left alone. But
Yeah, yeah,
Andy Frisella is a controversial figure who developed a program called 75 Hard. I say controversial because he made rules, and the rules are the
yeah.
rules, and people like to bend and change the rules. And
Yeah.
at the core of this program, which this is a mental toughness challenge, this is not a physical activity plan, this is not a diet, this is not a nutrition plan. This is a mental toughness challenge, and it includes some restrictions around your nutrition. It includes some restrictions around your intake of beverages. It includes some activity that's pretty extreme. It includes reading and feeding your mind. I'll define that better
Mm.
really succinctly. Um, but essentially, there's super simple rules. One, the best thing to do would be to buy the book. It's not incredibly
Um,
well edited. It'll seem like you
I've
wrote it and it was the second draft that didn't go past the editor 5 times. Get over it. Like, realize that the guy
excellent.
can
I love
put out a hardback book and sell it for $20 a piece with grammatical errors, and he's winning. Like, the focus should be on not there was a period missing or there was a space before the period. Oh no! Like, and I get it. I'm one of those
Excellent.
people. Like, my book has those spots. Like, I've edited the book. Like, dude, did he miss this? Did he not proofread this? So,
I
I'm
put
in.
it there. I put the website and I put the book
Yes.
on the chat. Yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
really worth it. Just having dipped my toe in and been 25 days into this process, like, there's some simple rules. Drink a gallon of water a day. No uh no decisions. Like, if you follow your doctor's orders, and if the doctor says you can't drink a gallon of water, this challenge isn't for you. Like,
yeah.
it's
Right.
really that simple. We're not trying to
Hmm.
change things. But there's a power in adhering to something so to the T, to the letter, that even if nobody's watching, if I miss an ounce of water, I didn't do my job, I start over. So
Okay.
this
And
is
start over means you go back to day one.
75 hard days. That's not called
Okay.
75 hard by accident. And if you don't
Yeah.
do 75 consecutive days with these tasks checked, then you didn't do it. And
Right.
this isn't about getting bogged down in, well, my calories are being restricted. This is about your commitment to you. And when you have this
Interesting.
pristine commitment to yourself, when no one's watching, only one person can answer, and it's you. When you know that everything has been in line for that 75 days, you can do anything. And that's the power of the challenge: is do this, and you just prove to yourself that you can do anything. So now go, my children.
Oh
Go,
wow,
go
that
with
does
this
sound
power
amazing.
of nothing can stop you, because you gave yourself 75 reasons to stop and you didn't.
Yes,
And
excellent. That's
super
amazing.
simple.
So you
Oh,
definitely have to go into that with us. Definitely, definitely, definitely.
mm-hmm,
Um, or Thursday if you want to do Thursday. Let's look at your schedule. We can do it as part of Magic Mindset. And as you said, it's a not just one, so we could do it on continue on
mm-hmm,
Sunday. Because that'd be interesting. I'm doing the my 21 days for the second time.
mm-hmm,
Um, which I think is a for the same reason,
mm-hmm.
to experience consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, no other reason. Just experience consistency with these things that I know that I've decided that are important for me to do. So yeah, for sure.
It's just time, and the 75 hard isn't for everyone to start as soon as they hear about it, but
Hmm.
it's get in your 7 day, your 10 day, your 21-day challenge, drink more water, be more active, read more books. Like, that's really all
Mm.
it is.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
just being more.
a lot.
I feel like those what I learned lots of things from doing the first 21 days. One of the things that kind of talks to what you just said is to choose to give yourself these specific things
Hmm.
and to intentionally choose these specific things. So no one's telling you to do them, no one's forcing you to do them. It's like I
Right.
choose to do these specific things because I chose to. So it kind of takes that victim element out of it. And
Hmm.
if you don't, you don't. But if you do, it's because you chose. So that's pretty cool.
That's the most powerful thing we have, our choice.
Yes, choices, choices, choices.
Choose
So on
happiness,
that note
choose
of
Bitcoin.
choices, choices, choices. Choose happiness, choose Bitcoin. Then it's got to be a third thing.
I was
Choose.
I was gonna say choose happiness, choose Bitcoin, and choose to grow again.
Yay! Those are good three things. Choose happiness, choose Bitcoin, choose to grow again. I think that's a good ending
Uh,
point.
love you.
Excelente. Love you. Have an amazing rest of your day. I know you're going to go paint stuff now. Thank
Yes.
you all for watching. Hope you got some value. Please share, like, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, keep on growing, right? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
We'll be here growing again. See you next time.
Yay! Until next